Hey, greetings. What's up, everybody? Hey, family. How y'all doing? Much love to y'all. Welcome to Living My Best Life in Ghana. Yes. We have a very exciting day today. We got some great of our greatest, our best of life has to offer as of now in the present. We have many of our ancestors that have moved on, but we prefer to give our ancestors their flowers while they are still here. And we have one of our most esteemed, greatest, I love this man like an uncle, like a blood uncle, of what family is really supposed to be. From the time that we met, we call him Uncle. When we first met Professor Smalls, he's been the same exact person from the very first time that we met him, and it's great to experience good people that come through your life. It's just good to have those people that affect you like he has affected us. He's been such a great mentor to us and leaves such a great impression upon people and really simplifies life for us during this time where we need all the therapy that we can get. So LMBLIG salutes Living My Best Life in Ghana, salutes Professor James Small, and he's going to come on here and let us know how to be the best version of our African God self right here on earth. It's amazing to be able to have this type of influence in our presence, and we just appreciate and thank the creator, creatress, and the ancestors for bringing him to us, leading him to us, putting him in his right mind where we're able to have such the presence of this great man right here in our presence today. Hey, Deborah Green, much love to you. Hello, greetings. Y'all bad. Latondra. Hey, peace, love, and life, fam. Greetings, Deborah and y'all bad. Balanta Queen said, Quaba LMBLIG fam, at the same. Hugs to all the kings and queens in the chat. Yes, Jatan said, Quaba fam, I'm waiting on pins and needles. We got the best of the best, nothing but the best for our family here. In order for us to stay on a positive high, empowered, the best therapy that we can get from being in the transatlantic slave trade, our families being separated. Nobody has separated the Black family no more than the slave invaders. Okay, no more than the colonizers, the slave invaders, the thieves of people's minds, their culture, their temples, their most sacred relics and rituals. We have been totally taken. Ourselves, we were taken, our things were taken, our culture was taken, and still, right now to this day, things are still being taken right before our very eyes. Happy Africa Day, everybody. Thank you, Felicia Brown. Peace and love. Happy Africa Day to you, everybody here. What a beautiful day to be African. Opt out the negativity now. Opt out of it before it consumes you. All right? We're going to stay on this natural African high. We got to get ourselves back home to the land of our ancestors. Hey, Cheryl, my high family. Yo. Good to see all my sisters and brothers here. Justine. Hey, Justine. Jumbo LMBLIG family. Respect, future, and power. Much love to y'all, everybody that is here. Zola Yaokima. Kwaba, I'm here in the waiting room with y'all. Much love to everybody. Corey B is here. Hey, Corey. Peace, LMBLIG family. Much love to our brothers, our bros. Okay, so Novia said Kwaba to my beautiful LMBLIG family. And greetings to you, Queen Future. Hey, my sister. How are y'all? Hey, everybody. Much love. We are opting out all of the ignorance, the bush, all of the negativity, everything that when they say no, we say yes, okay? When they say stop, we say go. We doing everything the opposite of European influence say do, okay? Do not indulge in the hypocrisy of Babylon. Do not indulge in it. Save 3130 to 31. How are you? Good afternoon, African kings and queens. My shufa. My eye said, greetings, Sister Future. It's 8:20 over here. Hey, sis. Thank you for keeping us up with the time. All right. Black love is simply beautiful. Bliss B is in the house. Greetings, everyone. Happy to be here. I sure enjoyed y'all video with Queen Nomad, Bliss B, and Bill. Love y'all. Y'all made me and Pebble put on a big smile when we saw that video. Thank y'all for the love. We appreciate it as a family. Yes. Be well and prosper. We got to do all that. Okay. If you treat yourself right, you treat your temper right, you be 100%, you be well, you will prosper. Okay. You ain't got to be money driven. You just got to be well inside and out. Your mind, body, and spirit has to stay in tune with African centeredness, African ways of doing things. We cannot get by. Do not try to take shortcuts the European way and expect African results. Okay? Marie Antoinette said, Quava family. What's up, Marie? Yes, God bless you. Quava family. Evans Adakwa. What's up, Evans? Yes, good to see all my family up in here. Mikey Dada, I'm here, family. Sneaking and watching the live while on this Zoom meeting. Gone, sister. Multitasking and everything. Thank you for your consistent message and energy, Sister Future. Appreciate of you all. Opting out of the negativity off the top. Okay, thank you so much, my love. Red, gold, and green is in the house. Greetings to everyone. Hey, red, gold, and green. Ya, bet. Aquaba, my noble African LMBLIG family. Much love to you. Aquaba to everyone that is here. Miss Grace, I'm here, family. I am here. We are here for you and everybody that needed. Donnie goes in. Hey, Donnie goes in. Much love to you, bro. Sending love to your channel. Man, Power was watching your video on how to cut. You know, we into the hair industry too, so it was good and refreshing to see somebody in the same field that we in doing their thing. Much love to you, bro. Good to have you here. Felicia Brown said, no negativity, family. No negativity at all. Chelsea B said, peace, family. Hey, Chelsea B. Bye to the Bulls. Shh. Yes, bye-bye. My hi, Africa people. I hit the like button even though I'm going to love this episode. Ain't that something? We gonna love it and cherish it. Yes, Yaya Bay. Say I was over here having LMBLIG withdrawals, Future. I know my love. I know I can't apologize because I'm making moves. Okay, you'll be very proud of me in the end. Okay, so hang with your sister, and if I need to bring y'all on to conduct a couple of these lives to keep our energy going, I will. Okay, because I ain't trying to do this by myself. But I do love being here, and I miss y'all just as much as y'all miss me. But look at the time. What day is this? It's October the 20th already. I thought October just got here last week. Okay. Oh, it's going by too fast, bro. I got to make moves. Red, gold, and green said, Dachi love. Well, Hunter saying, how are you doing today? Yeah, now Usawe. Red, gold, and green. Much love to you, Virginia Harris from California. Hey, Auntie. Greetings to everyone and to your husband and your daughter. Much love to y'all. Glad to see y'all here. You saw it. Yes. Hi, everyone. So nice to be here among family. Okay, so nice to be here with you all. Peace and blessings, LMBLIG family. Opting out of all the negativity. You got to vow before our ancestors. You got to say you're not going to indulge. Don't even entertain. Don't let it go in your configuration. I'm telling you, it will disturb you, especially if you are already dealing with enough. Opt out. Opt out. Edwin Nee Lantic Thompson. Hey, Edwin. Quaba LMBLIG family. Hey, Edwin. How you doing? Much love to Edwin. Audrey said, respect, Future. Very nice to see you. Much love and respect to you, Audrey. Much love and thank you so much. Thanks, family. You are so welcome. Donnie goes in. Justine Ruth said, love all y'all. It's so much love flowing right here and living my best life in Ghana. Yes. The travel world said greetings of peace to everyone. We accept it, we receive it, and we push it right back out there to you, travel the world. Madase for showing us that love. Ashe. Kwaba to all. Good to be here. I'm truly thankful. Bless up to all. Yes. Yes, much love to everybody. I'm moving with no entertaining thoughts or negativity or obstacles. My ancestors got me. I ain't open to nothing other than that. They are pleased and holding me through this. I rebuke anything else. That's right. Say it. Yes, yes. We ain't playing with it. We are opting out of all the mess. Yes, we are proud of you. Oba Hima, Dachi love, long live. Matase red, gold, and green. I know them words are very powerful to me in the African language, especially when I know what they mean. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the love that you show, Red, Gold, and Green. You really, really, really help. You good for my morale, okay? Thank you so much. Shaliza said, greetings, LMBLIG family. Peace and blessings, Queen Future. Shaliza, yes. Time is definitely flying. When I was on live stream with you that one time, I remember you saying, be mindful of time. That stuck with me. Moving up my timeline for the party. Man, I'm so happy for everybody. It is very, very close. Many have called, many are called, but few have been chosen. All right, we're all right. We know everybody won't go, and it's okay. It's okay because it's a protracted process. Okay, we have to realize everybody does not learn everything at the same time. We have to be very, very careful of what we are indulging in, okay, that could pull us back. Dimensions, okay? We don't need nothing pulling us back. We got to stay ahead. We got to stay strong, okay? I thank the ancestors for you, Queen Future, and my LMBLIG family. Is such a therapy for all of us to be here, being dedicated to LMBLIG, knowing that we are the most important. Okay, knowing that our psyche is more important to the people right now. We have got to clean our minds up. Okay, we have got to get purged of European ways and concepts and dealing and being ignorant and dealing with one another. We have got to show ourselves the African way. We got to learn. And if we don't know, we need to close our mouths. We got to get quiet. It's a lot of us that needs to be quiet. Okay, it's a lot of us that needs to be quiet. And some of us, we need to go. I mean, if you're going to talk and say something, tell people to be quiet. Be quiet for a change. Because it seems like if you don't, you're going to make things worse for yourself and many, many others if you don't do it. People have got to learn how to be quiet and be humble. That is the whole purpose of teaching you morality, integrity. Your moral compass has to project the righteousness. Your moral compass. Okay? I really, really want us to understand we have got to be greater and better Africans every day. I'm not just saying this just because it sounds good. I'm saying it because we need to be thinking it. And we need to, that's what we need to show, push out into the world. I'm out of all the nonsense. My focus is on Africa. Thank you for being true African, a true African queen. Thank you so much, Say 3131. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It's definitely okay. My piece is on the continent. It's not anyone else's piece to have, see, or understand. That's right. Greetings, my beautiful sister Future. How are you and Brother Power doing? We are great. Yes. Greetings to all my brothers and sisters here with much love. Much love, everyone. Move in silence. That's right, Maki Dada. In silence. I ain't seen so many people that showing their hand. Just showing their hand. I think that's is unwise. We got to be very, very smart. We got to be better than we been in Babylon. We got to be better wherever we go. We got to be the best example of what we supposed to be. Okay? We got to learn how to close our mouths. We got to learn how to do it. We got to be very strong. We got to be strong, but we got to be some silent warriors. You don't show your hand, tell everybody, go tell them I'm coming for them in a week. I'm gonna be over there in a week. Who do that? If you got something you plan on doing that's strategic, that you gonna come out on top, why would you pre-warn somebody? That's how Europeans do go the shoot off. Everybody stand, we gonna stand, and then we gonna turn around holding our guns, and we gonna turn our backs and walk in the other direction and walk it off and count it off and turn around, see who can shoot their pistol first. That is ignorant. That is not how African people roll. We have got to be smart and strategic on our moves. We got to be very, very smart, African-centered Africans. We got to opt out of negativity. We got to be the very best Africans that we can be. All right? And that is my truth today. Okay? I love you, Kofi. Donnie goes in, said yes. I'm here to enjoy this show here. We appreciate you. Show not tell. That's right. That's right. I want to know what the main topic is today. You about to see. No further ado, I want to introduce to some. Like I was saying earlier, I have some great elders that I hold in the highest of esteems, the highest of the highest. Um, I wish I knew the African words to say right now, okay? But the warriors for the people, the ones that can always bring you down to earth, that can speak and make everything very rationalized, very simple, where you can think of options yourself to put you in a way where you can be in the right direction and you can survive after you come in contact with them, because they open up portals in your mind that can flow and be very free. Okay, we only get a few of those people on earth that's still with us, that continue to open our portals so our minds can breathe and think at the same time, where we can get some peace right here wherever we are. We can be African wherever we are. Africa is inside of us. We know it. And we can be the best manifestation of God right here on earth. This is where I get this from. The best manifestation of God right here on earth is me, Future. And that was greatly given to me by our guest today, our uncle, our professor, our doctor. Here he come. Give y'all the best, because we deserve the best. My uncle, Dr. Smalls. Y'all say hello. Let's clap for Dr. Smalls. Hey, Uncle.
Hi, Future.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
So good to have you here with us today.
Mm-hmm.
And Power will be here shortly. We are making moves, and at the same time, behind the scenes, we're working in front as also to share a good word of news for our people, so they can know how to be the best version of themselves right here on earth. So I know you gave me such insight when it comes to that. We're just glad to have you here and to have you amongst our presence. Many of us, a lot of our people know you well, and some of our people are new to this and true to this, but they are ready to learn and ready to have a word from you. And we're just glad that you are here with us.
Well, I told Sister Jetson, I think her name is, this morning, that only you could call me the day before and says, Uncle, could you be on the show tomorrow? and I would say, absolutely, yes, absolutely. The key thing, this was just in case.
Yeah.
First, let me greet and say hello to African men and women and children and aunties and uncles and fathers across the globe. in this moment, throw your differences away, because really the only thing that's different about us are the things that's European about us. If we throw away the things that's European about us, we will find there aren't any differences between us. So to start thinking in terms of those things Europeans, we can't throw away everything. There's some things you need, yes, but those things European that you can't throw away, throw them away, because those are the things that are the differences between us. And start thinking of dying with a smile on your face. You know, you say to people, go, oh my God, this fool's talking about dying. Yeah, everybody that's listening to me in this moment, there will be a moment when we will go through a process called dying. So we need to think about dying so that we can begin to truly think about living, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when we think about living, we will think about learning the wisdom of our ancestors, who will then teach us that the thing called dying is an illusion. And if we begin to truly understand that death is, as we know it in the Western Judeo-Christian Islamic terms, is an illusion, people will stop frightening us into submitting to their tyranny. They use death to frighten us to submit to tyranny, and not realizing that even if I submit to the tyranny, another occasion for my death is going to pop up anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'll have to constantly do this. But when we begin to study what Dr. Nobles call history, we will begin to erase the white man's mystery, and we can work the Black African magic. And that Black African magic is learning the wisdom of our ancestors on all levels.
Yes.
And then becoming that body of wisdom in the way we live this thing called life, every moment, every second. And that's how you change the world. That's the revolution. Killing a bunch of white people or Asian people with their guns to be like them just leads us to do what we're doing in so many African nations and in the Black community in America, Brazil, and Colombia, killing one another because we are not quite enough. Let me tell you what I mean, because I want to really get down, since Future told me I can have my way.
Yes.
In the last 30 years, African American people just in the United States murdered over 300,000 of their own people. Throw in the abortions that white women and their false movement have led us to. And in the last 30 years, we've murdered over 1 million plus of our own people. So what beef have we got with the right-wing crackers if we're doing that to ourselves? You ain't got no beef. People are laughing at you. In 30 years, just with guns in the streets of America, we've slaughtered 300,000 of our own brothers and sisters. And
Yes.
when a cop kills 300 in a year, give me a break. You aren't paying attention to your own fundamental reality. The reason the cop killed those, because you show them how worthless you value yourself and those you love by killing 300,000 of your own people in 30 years. Now, if you don't value you, how are you going to get somebody else in the world to value you? If you don't value you. But then that begs the question, why don't we value ourselves? Somebody asked me, how did I feel about this lady going to the Supreme Court? And she's going to turn back Roe versus Wade. I don't even know what the hell that is, because I've always been anti-abortion. Okay? I've never been for this genocide that white women have slid on us called abortion, because she can't have babies, and when she get pregnant,
Yes.
them. And so since she's going to slaughter her own, she's going to teach you to slaughter your own. If you can slaughter what's in your belly, then it's easy to kill what's outside of it.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So I just want people to kind of understand me, because sometimes people get illusions, you know. And I want to be clear about something. I'm an African, born in Africa, in a place called Georgetown, South Carolina. And I heard my niece said a little while ago that Africa is in us.
Yes.
So wherever you were born in the United States or in the Caribbean, Africa was in you. It was born in you. Yes, we have a land called Africa, but that's not the essence of what is African. The spirit in you, wherever you are, is what in essence is Africa. That's what we're talking about when we say Pan-Africanism, when we say African love, when we say African beauty. We're talking about the essence of the Africa in the African. And that's not a location. It is a location. It's called planet Earth. Okay.
And Doctor, Uncle, let me say this. The amount of poison, because some people ask the question, why do we do these things to ourselves? Like Mikey Dada said, why do we do this to each other? Is the question. Self-annihilation, but why? Right. Why is it like that?
The fundamental reason is ignorance of knowledge of yourself. Elijah Muhammad came and told us that, but because he brought it in the packet of Islam, and white folks didn't like Islam, then we didn't like Islam, because the white folks didn't like Islam. So we didn't listen to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Noble Drew Ali brought us the same thing. Love thyself, know thyself, under the Moorish Science Temple. But he had an Islamic package, so we regurgitated it, and we didn't listen to it. Dr. Martin Luther King, the white media gave us much of what the white media gave us for Dr. King is lies. When you listen to Dr. King's speeches on your own, he's one of the greatest orators we've ever had, and his politics with both Black nationalism and Pan-Africanism right on point. But the white media gave us what he set aside of Dr. King's words and didn't let us see the substance of his words. And in most of Dr. King's speeches, he was teaching us to love thyself, do for thyself. He was yelling black is beautiful when most of us weren't yelling black was beautiful. So it comes down to knowing your history so you can wash away the white man's mystery.
Yes.
But you got to know your history. And you got to start with your family. Start with your family tree. Who was my mother? Who's my father? Don't tell me what daddy left. My daddy left when I was 4 years old. I still love him. I don't understand what his situation was. I couldn't do nothing about that.
Yes.
I wish he was there, but my mama met another black man named Paul Johnson, who she married. And he raised 11 children that belongs to another man. You can't get more daddy than that.
Man, okay? I promise.
So
that's awesome.
Frank, I felt sorry for him as I began to grow and understand the damage that Eurocentrism, white thought and practice, does to the African consciousness. So we have to first examine our family, the broken ones and the healthy ones, and put your family tree together and study those people. And then the town that they grew up in, say they came from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. You may live in Chicago or California now, but study the history of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where your people come from. Then study where they went to, Detroit, Kansas City, New York, Chicago. Learn those Black histories. Then study the history of African America by reading books like They Came Before the Mayflower by LaRon Bennett, or The Shaping of Black America, also by LaRon Bennett, and begin to understand African American history. Then branch out. Look at the general African history. One of the best books for doing that is Robin Walker's book, When We Rule. Brother Robin Walker, he lives in the UK, beautiful historian. The book is called When We Rule, you know, and get a sense of history, because history is your foundation. And you can't build any house unless you have a proper foundation. But history, like Dr. Noble says, history will erase the white man's mystery. And you can work your black magic after that. But if you don't know history, and you reduce black just to the color of the skin, and that, or to the texture of the hair, or the shape of our bodies, that's not enough. All of those things represent aspect of being an African person. But it is the essence of the African, the historical consciousness of the African, passed down by your ancestors in the body of knowledge that we call the ancestral wisdom. They're in books, they're on DVDs, they're on cassette tapes. There's still hundreds of black bookstores in this country. Don't let anybody tell you all black bookstores are gone. They're not gone. Many of them in this country, especially in the larger cities. Or you can order many of the black books online. With this machine now, you can Google anything black you want to, and that white boy's got it there for you because he's going to charge you some money for it. But at least find out where it's at, and you can find another way to get it cheaper. You know? But if you don't know history, you can't even have a discussion on politics. Most of us are in trouble in the cities because we can't afford the food, clothing, shelter, and safety that we need to feel at home wherever we are in the world. And if you can't afford food, clothing, shelter, and safety, you're not free. I don't care if you're in Africa or Brazil or Haiti. If you can't control the supply of food, clothing, shelter, safety, and security, you're in trouble. And for most of us, we can't. And the reason is that we must gain control. Somebody asked Malcolm X one day, he says, Minister Malcolm X, what do you mean by black nationalism? He said, you've got to control the economics, the politics, and the culture where you live. Even Dr. Martin Luther King gave the very same answer. You must control the economics, the politics, and the culture where you live. If you can't do that, you can't supply the food, clothing, shelter, safety that you need for your baby and your household. And once you get control of the economic, politics, and culture where you live, then you got to get control of the land, the labor, and the resources where you live. You don't have to integrate with nobody. You just have to take control of where you're at. And right now, we got the Arab store in this corner, the Korean nail place on the next corner, the Chinese beauty shop and hair place on the next corner, the Indian restaurant on the next corner. And there's nothing of us feeding us, clothing us, tooling us in our neighborhood. Now, what do? We got money. In the last 7 years, we've been spending over $1 trillion as surplus money every year. Who are we spending it with? What are we doing with that trillion point something, $1.4 trillion, last year $1.7 trillion? We've given it to other ethnic groups that wouldn't urinate on us if we were on fire. We call them brothers and sisters. Stop it. If they do not act in the interest of your community. And Malcolm X also said this. He said, they come and run their business from one part of town, and when the sun goes down, they take that money out of our community to their part of town. And they live very well. They don't have all this crime in their community. Their children are getting pretty doggone well educated and technically tooled to work in any society in the world. They're much safer in their community with the money you gave them from your community. When you got $1 trillion, you can't say we're poor, because $1 trillion. With $1 trillion being spent by the 80 million of us every year, there shouldn't be a single unemployed black person in America. And if those 80 million people made a decision that I'm only going to spend my money where the face is looking like me, even if I got to change the attitude to be like me. And I will not worship in any house of worship that ain't teaching my history to my children. So you can talk about Jesus all you want. I don't give a damn about Jesus. Don't give a damn about Allah, Muhammad, and none of those Buddha, none of them people. They don't give a damn about my people.
That's right.
So if you're going to use those modems, then demand that those modems service you. So all these churches own a building. So where's the Black studies courses and after-school courses for our children in the building? Those who want to do those things have to run around trying to find a place to do it, and yet go to a church on Sunday they've already paid for, whose doors is closed 6 days a week. How do we open those churches so there isn't a question about Black women having the daycare facilities they want? How do we open those mosques so there is no question that Black people will be taught the Black history they want to? But the problem with the brothers in the mosque, they're busy trying to be Arabs. They're trying to be desert people. Okay? And so we need to clean it up. Are we Africans or are we not? And those are, well, they black skin and we brown. Brown ain't nothing but a shade of black. Okay?
Right.
Brown ain't nothing but shades of black. And we had these colors before we left Africa. Just go to ancient Kemet, look on the temple walls. Go to Karma, look on the temple walls. How you doing there, son? I like that beard you rolled up in there.
You like that? I was gonna say. I was gonna see if you was gonna notice that right there, Godfather, Uncle.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
Thank you, man. How you been, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna shut up in a minute and let people ask me some real questions. But I just want people to fundamentally know I'm an African American. Now that's not a contradiction to being an African. See, the brother who's a Yoruba don't have to qualify being African. Yet Yoruba is an ethnic nation, like African Americans. We're an ethnic nation. We've been over here in this wilderness for 400 plus years, having a similar experience under common circumstances, responding in a common way, and producing a common response to tyranny. And in that relationship, we amalgamated from all over the continent of Africa. We're Yoruba, we're Cameroon, we're Akan, we're Congo, we're Zulu, we're Shona, we're Kikuyu, we're Mendi. We're all of these people amalgamated into one Africa, New Africa. But that doesn't take us away from all Africa. It's not a contradiction, no more than when the people of Benin migrated from Ile-Ife in Nigeria and formed their own kingdom of Dahomey. Did they stop being African?
Right.
Right? Or when the people we call Zulu, who literally migrated all the way from what is Nigeria to what is now Zululand, they didn't stop being African. Or when the people of Chad migrated from the Nile Valley, and you go to the biggest tribe in Chad, it's called the Saa Neter. That's the biggest tribe in Chad and northern Cameroon. They didn't stop being African. Or when the Ga people of Ghana migrated from Mesopotamia, from Iraq.
That's what Uncle TT said there.
So we need to, that's why history will erase the white man mystery. Black magic, you see. But you can't work your black magic if you don't know history, because history teaches you to love yourself. When you love yourself, you don't hurt yourself.
That's right.
You see yourself and your brother and sisters outside of yourself. But if you don't love yourself and you see a brother and sister outside of yourself and a conflict come up, you will use any method that the enemy have imbued in you to strike out and solve the problem. This leads to destruction. But if you love yourself, you can begin to fix the shattered consciousness and the broken black identity. And if you love yourself, you'll love your brother and sister, and you will begin to help them fix the shattered consciousness and the broken black identity that they're possessed with. A sister called me this morning. Well, not the sister called me. The sister called me was beautiful. I'll do this last piece and I'm going to stop. I was watching a young African-American sister yesterday, and she's a very attractive sister. and dressed very teasingly so, with long white type hair hanging down her shoulders. And she kept rubbing it and teasingly talking to the audience. But what she was talking was anti-African, anti-Pan-Africanism, anti-returning to Africa. But she was trying to put it in such a pleasant spin.
Crazy.
On it. I go, damn. I'm gonna call her though, because I got on my phone. I'm gonna reach out to her. You gotta have a conversation. Because it seemed one family went to Gambia and had a bad experience. And she's using that one bad experience in Gambia to wipe out Pan-Africanism. Returning back home. And don't have a clue. Now, power and future, y'all have been back and forth to Africa almost as much as I have.
Yes.
There's over 7,000 African Americans that live in Ghana alone.
Right.
Yes.
Come there in the year of return. Some have lived there for 40 years, 35 years, 25
True.
years. Some been there 15 years. Yes, the social media has helped us see it, and so we saw the year of return. But people have been returning since the 1800s.
Hundreds, yes, yes.
This is nothing new for us. Martin Delaney, whom everybody should study, magnificent, beautiful brother. He was a major in the Northern Army during the Civil War. He was a medical doctor that graduated from Harvard University in the 1800s. Now, they didn't want to, when he came up 4 weeks before graduation, all the cracker boys, white boys, sorry, because they'll put us off if we use them certain words. So the young white boys say, we are not going to march with the big ends. So the 4 black doctors was kicked out of Harvard 4 weeks before graduation. They already finished their medical training. And one of those doctors was Martin Delaney, who became a major in the military and fought in the 54th from Massachusetts. We saw that movie Glory. It was about that particular battalion. But when he came back, well, before the war, he knew his grandfather had told the story of the family, that the family was from Nigeria, a place called Abeokuta.
Abeokuta.
I say some of my families, one of those very spiritual centers, Abeokuta. And so he wanted to go back home to Abeokuta to find his family. So Martin Delaney will eventually, and what he had in mind before the Civil War, he was trying to come up with a way to get all of us to leave America and talk to this government and to let all of us go. We just go on the hell on back home, leave you all over here in your wilderness. Because white people had to give us up because we were creating too many inventions and technical skills for him. But anyway, he did go after the war to Abeokuta. And he formed an organization called the Niger Valley, I think it was called the Niger Valley Federation or the Niger Valley Association. And they gave him enough land in Nigeria for all of us to come home. Marcus Garvey ain't born yet, people. And this is the man who coined the term back to Africa. And Africans at home, for Africans at home and abroad. But these people were comrades in history. They weren't enemies. But I'm talking about Martin Delaney. So when he comes back to the country, so the Civil War ticked off. So all the plans is awry. So after the war, because there was such an unanimous victory against those people, a lot of our people didn't want to go home again on a mass movement like that. So he moved to Charleston, South Carolina, and he was responsible for moving more brothers and sisters who wanted to go home to Liberia and Sierra Leone than anybody in that period of time. So this is Sierra Leone and Liberia were nations built by us. We didn't invade nobody's nation.
Right.
We bought the land and we built a nation and we incorporated with the people that was there. Were there conflicts? Of course. There were cultural conflicts. There were conflicts between those who still want to sell people into slavery and those of us that said that shit is up, that's over. There were conflicts over land issues and those kinds of things. But we still built two nations in Africa, one called Liberia, one called Sierra Leone, even before Delaney was born or Garvey was born. So the Back to Africa movement begun the day we stepped on the first ship. So let's get away from this illusion where we don't want to go back there and go back those people this. I will criticize my brothers and sisters and kick them in their behinds at home and in North America and the Caribbean where they deserve getting kicked in their behind. But you can't disassociate and dissolute yourself from your family. Because your big brother slapped the piss out of you because he thought you were doing some inappropriate stuff. He ain't no longer your big brother.
No, you just got slapped.
This is where the wisdom comes in, see? Because the wisdom and the history comes in when there's a conflict and you use that wisdom to deal with the conflict resolution.
Yes, conflict resolution.
So we're not just starting to go back to Africa. Booker T. Washington in the 1900s, before the first Pan-African Conference, held a conference at Tuskegee University. It was called the Conference of the Negro World. Now, nobody want to call it a Pan-African Conference because the white Marxist left has already labeled Booker T. Washington to be an accommodationist. And we throw one of the best leaders we had in the garbage can because white folks said it's cool to do that. Because he didn't want us to learn what Booker was teaching. Let me dwell on Booker Washington for a minute. I'm just showing you how history could erase the mystery, right? Booker T. Washington, in having this conference on the Negro world, I think he did two of them, but this was the first conference on the Negro world. People came from multiple Caribbean islands, including Jamaica. Garvey couldn't come because the British wouldn't give them access to leave. Remember, Britain was running Jamaica at that time. But a 10-person delegation did come to the conference from Jamaica and reported back to Garvey. People came from Ghana. People came from South Africa. People came from Nigeria. People came from Liberia. People came from Sierra Leone and a few other Caribbean islands. But we don't call it a Pan-African Conference because the white Marxist left says he's an accommodationist. Now let's come to the conference we call. Oh, at that conference, these brothers and sisters from Jamaica would go back home and give Booker Garvey the contact for Booker and Booker the contact for Garvey. And it is Mr. Booker T. Washington that invites Mr. Marcus Garvey to America. It said Booker died a few months, and I contend he was murdered a few months before Garvey got here. But as Dr. Tony Martin wrote in his book, Marcus Garvey said out of his own mouth, "I'm not here to bring anything new," he said. "I'm here to implement the Tuskegee model." You and I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Now let's go to the next phase. I'm talking about Mr. Booker Washington, see, because history will erase the white man mystery. How many leaders have we had that have left us a college, a technical institute like Tuskegee? How many?
None that I know of.
How many
except for maybe
leaders
one
we know that would build an institution? The young people there, they made the bricks. They used the bricks to build the building. They cut the trees. They created the lumber. They grew the vegetable that fed them. They made the clothes that they wore. We call that today Black nationalism, Pan-Africanism. So why won't we call it that when Booker T. Washington is doing it? Because the white man didn't want you to learn that. You see? So he's accommodationism. He lived in Alabama, right? That's Alabama, Alabama. So you can't expect him to act like Malcolm X living in New York. In the midst of the Ku Klux Klan and Jim Crow, he's supposed to act like Malcolm? You're out of your mind. But look at what he pulled off. But let's take it further. I'm again talking about Mr. Booker. I'm just trying to show you how there's history you could know that you blind yourself to because the enemy made us do that, that would help you get out of the jam you're in, okay? When W.E.B. Du Bois got out of college, who gave him his first job? Booker T. Washington.
Telephone.
Brought him to the South.
Telepharaoh.
That's his name, Booker T.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
Say it again, Professor. It sounds so nice. Telephone.
Washington. But they told us about one argument between Du Bois and Booker and tried to turn a 40-year relationship or 30-year relationship into that one argument.
Yeah.
When Dr. Du Bois went to England to set up for the first Pan-African World Conference, who do you think accompanied him and paid for the journey? Booker T. Washington. All right. But do they tell us that in history? No.
No, sir.
They hide that fact conveniently. And when he came back, he financed through his varied newspapers and publications, and he had the biggest communication network in America. He publicized and advertised the conference. But because he didn't go and speak, people used that as a put down. Without him, there wouldn't have been no conference because he damn near financed the whole thing.
That's cool.
Went over with Du Bois to organize it. But they don't tell us that. They dwell on some little argument. And they can't even tell us what their argument is about. They said it's about the talented 10th and accommodation. And no, they were in love with the same woman, and they had the same beef some of us have today. Okay, that was the real beef. All right,
Right.
Always be
but obviously,
Word.
have the beef. All right, because they continued to work together till Booker was killed. If I asked the average person, where did Booker T. Washington die? I've never met anyone that could tell me.
No.
He died on a train on the way back to Tuskegee when he pulled into the station in Baltimore after his wife and aide came and got him out of a hospital where he got sick after sitting at a dinner table with some white folks and Monroe Trotter and some others where they probably poisoned him. And when he saw he wasn't recovering, he called his people, sent a telegram, said, come get me, let me die at home. But he died on the train going to Tuskegee when the train went to Baltimore. But we don't know that because somebody has told us he ain't worthy of our knowing.
So
There's a good book by Sister Dr. Tyene Wright. Where is that book? Every time I look at that book, sometimes I can't find it. It just eludes me. But it's by Dr. Tyene Wright on the life of Booker T. Washington. Oh, here it is. And this book is called. It's a good book. She did
Making of a Pan-Africanist.
Right? And you're going to be talking what this man have done that have been hid from you. That's just one thing to show you about the history. Let me do another little piece on the history, why history is so important, especially as African Americans, to erase the mystery of the white man so we can match it, right? They tell us about this great Indian nation called the Seminole. And there never was an Indian nation called the Seminole. Never. Now, there are people today calling themselves Seminoles because the white man said that's what you call yourself, okay? And the white man have a way of making you take it on labels and apply it to yourself and even try to create false history for yourself. But Florida, until the end of the Civil War nearly, was a possession of Spain, not the British. And from the early 1700s, that's where we escaped from the plantations in South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina.
Right.
The Spanish word for runaway, you know, when we go to Jamaica, they talk about the Maroons.
Right.
Yeah.
Spain ruled Jamaica before British. So that word maroon isn't the British word. It is the anglicization of a Spanish word, cimarron. Get it now? Cimarron. But that's the Spanish way of saying it. But the Anglican British way is to cut off the cimarron. It's simply run away.
Right.
So in Florida, they call them Seminole, the dumb British American. But the Seminole were the Cimarroons that ran away from the plantation in South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina. and amalgamated with a group of Native Americans called the Red-Tailed Creeks. There were two Creek nations. There was the Greater Creek Nation, who fought against us and were actually the ones who tracked us down for the white man.
Right.
But there was a smaller Creek Nation called the Red-Tailed Creeks who fought with us. It is those two groups amalgamating that created what got to be known as the Seminoles, which is the majority Black population. And the word Seminole derives from the word Cimarron, which means runaway. History will erase the friggin' mystery.
Man, yes,
it will.
Yes, it will.
And allow you to work your miracle. And there's some books on it. There's a book by David Imhotep. The first Americans were Black, or the first Americans were Africans. There's the work by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, which deals mostly with the West Coast African population. Africans had been coming and going. I can get in a rowboat in Ghana, and in 6 days, I can be in Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, in a damn rowboat. Columbus learned to get here by following the Gulf Stream, the same stream that used to bring the hurricane into the Caribbean.
Right.
Yeah.
He followed. Well, I'm going to answer this call. My wife.
Okay. Better get it.
Don't get in no trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. We're gonna have the next question there for the doc for Prof. We want him to expound on how we are God's heaven and human experience. In just a minute, the Alchemist 666 asked us 666 wanted Dr. Smalls to expound on that. We are God's having a human experience. What's up, everybody?
What's up, y'all?
Ooh, no, now I truly know why in college I wasn't fitting in. Their essence was not of me or in me.
That's true. That's right, Paul. For sure.
That's the
I hope
absolute
y'all can
truth.
appreciate that I'm a family man. When my wife called, I got to answer that call.
Yeah, hey, look.
At 5:06. So at 5:06, I got to be at the train station. That professor don't mean a damn thing. And that thing is then I got to be there to pick my baby up.
I feel you on that.
We had a 50-year experience. Hadn't been all uphill. We had some downhill times, some feeling like I'm going to kick your butt time or getting your butt kicked time and personalizing time. But we had more reasons to building the African family than we had to abandon the African family. And so we spent 50 years trying to do that and be a model and example for the community we live in.
Yes, and y'all did an excellent job. So the Alchemist 666 want to know, can you expound on we are God's having a human experience? Oh,
that's an easy one. I've actually learned an easy way to say it now.
Yes.
When it was first revealed to me many years ago, people were just scared to death. I'd stand up in an election and say, half the people want to get up and run out the church. But I would say we're God having a human experience. And then I changed it up a little bit and said, we're God having a human experience called me, meaning I'm peculiar, teachers are peculiar, powers peculiar, but we're all aspect of God having our peculiar experiences.
Yes.
Okay, right.
Then I had to find another way. Okay, let's say it in a way that ain't so overpowering to people. So I said, each one of us represent an aspect of the divine essence having this experience. And I liken it to a sun, the sun. And each of the rays from the sun has its own personality, but all of the rays have the same source. And it's made of the same substance.
Yes.
So the ray that hits the bumblebee may be a little bit more different rhythm than the ray that hits me, or the one that hits the oak tree or the sand, but they all come from the same source, the sun.
Right.
Well, in that same way, we all come from the same source, the thing we call God or the divine.
Yes.
In Africa, in most languages, the word for people, person, place, or thing has as its prefix or its suffix that community's word for the divine. So it tells you that there's so God in everything.
Right.
But the thing that's simpler, then I found the most simpler way to do it. When your mother and father had sex, and yes, that's exactly what mommy and daddy did. We want to act like, oh, they didn't do that. No, we here, right? They did.
Yeah, they did it.
When mommy and daddy had sex, and that sperm and that egg found union, it created each one of us. But then think now, the only thing they had to create you with was themselves. So when your mother and father created you, they had recreated themselves. Think about that for an instant. When mom and dad created you, they had recreated an aspect of themselves. Because somebody said, well, what if I had a brother or sister? Yes, each of us represent aspects of that totality called mommy and daddy. Because mommy and daddy is the sun. That's Amun Ra. All right. We are Aset and Asa or Haru, depending on what stage of creation you want to symbolize. But let me not go in those complex symbols. People like to go there and nobody understands there. Let me keep it simple. When mommy and daddy had sex and they gave birth to you, they gave birth to themselves. When your 4 grandparents had sex and gave birth to your mommy and daddy, they had given birth to themselves. When your 8 great parents had sex and gave birth to your grandparents, they had given birth to themselves. So you are nothing more than an extension of the first occasion when the universe decided to manifest as a human, and that was a Black woman. So all of us are descendant of that Black woman, which represents the first manifestation of the universe manifesting itself as humans. In that sense, the direct descendant of that first woman is God itself. And you're the grandkids of God, whether you like it or not. And ain't nobody can disprove what I just said. Bring them on.
Right.
They cannot disprove that.
Can you
one more piece on that?
Okay.
And that being so, at the same time that you're God having the human experience, that you're your mother and father, infinity of themselves or eternity of themselves, you're at the same moment your own ancestors that you pour libation to. Because when they gave birth to you, they were giving birth to themselves, and the other ancestors before themselves had given birth to themselves as them. So you are the ancestors. They're not off someplace.
Yes.
Right.
You're an extension of them.
Yes.
Like, you know, they shared that shell, but they had created a new shell to house themselves in called you.
Yes.
I hope
like
that
that.
was a good answer to that question.
It's perfect.
Yeah, that's an awesome answer. I love that. I love that whole idea that brings us very closer to ourselves and to our ancestors when we realize that, because it put us all in the same space in knowing,
Well,
you
that's
know
why
what I'm saying, the things we know.
The British said, in order to conquer the people in West Africa, you've got to crush their culture.
Yes.
That has been the main weapon they use. Stephen Biko said the greatest weapon, that beautiful young brother, that was the spirit from the heavens that came, said the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressed is what? The mind
of the oppressed.
So we can get our mind back from the oppressed and put our mind back in our mother's and father's hand, our grandparents' hands, our great-parents' hands, we'll be free.
Yep.
And when we look at it the way I just showed you, that the relationship, no matter how light-skinned you are, how tall you are, how short you are, we are one family, right? And that the blackest black is the source of all other beings. Somebody sent me a tape a few weeks ago about this Chinese anthropologist, paleontologist, who was trying to prove, being interviewed by a white reporter from the BBC, trying to prove that the Chinese had their own evolutionary process and did not come from Africa. They said when he found the truth, he ran in his car and started screaming. They could hear him with the windows down. Every test he did from every community in China showed that all of them had their mother in Africa. So is the rest of the world. Paleontology and archaeology ain't got no argument with this. How can you argue with the source? You see?
Is that why the European Prof is always looking for itself?
That's a European problem, and this is an elder. Forgot the brother's name. That told me this in a Zoom a few weeks ago. He says the Africans know that we're a whole that have divided ourselves into parts, but because we know we are whole, we can restore ourselves. The European have divided himself into parts and trying to figure out how to become a whole, and he can never restore himself. So that's his problem. He had never known himself in the context of a whole. The African has always been a whole, and that's what the family structure is about. The family is the nucleus for all civilization. So you have the mother and the father and the child. That's what the story about Asar and Aset and Haru is about. That's what the story about Mary, Joseph, and Jesus is about. He messed it up because he was too ignorant to understand what the thing was about. So he created it into a God thing. No, it's about the family as being the symbol of God, the three. You see? The mother, the father, and the child. And the child is always kind of androgynous. The child is never a male or female. It can be either male or female, but the mother, father, and the child is God, is the African symbol of God. But even many of us who get off into Kemet, we come at it with a white mind. And we start talking about the god Osiris and the god Isis and the god Haru. They ain't no gods. Those are symbols of concepts, ideas, and principles that when we understand them and put them to play in our character, our family, and our society, we can live in what they call Ma'at. Truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, and reciprocity. Or the Yorubas call Iawapile, the gentle character. You know, or the Igbo, you know, Omanele,
Nigeria,
and balance within and without. But let's bring it back without going too far away. This is about knowing history, and once you start studying history, then you start getting into your culture. Culture is not your hairstyle, it's not the dress, it's not the jewelry, it's not the artwork, it's not the music, it's not the dance. Those are tools of culture. Those are the things that convey the ideas of culture. Culture is the idea our ancestors have in how the cosmology, ecology, and the human being work together as one. That worldview, that concept and idea is what is called culture. Everything else is the tools that it teaches and explains it to us and help us sustain it in our consciousness through music, through theater, through drama, through dance, through dress, through clothing, through jewelry, you know? And so history erases the mystery and allow you to work your miracle. And it's important to understand that. Let me go one more thing and then I'm gonna shut up for real and just do questions.
Don't do it, keep going.
When we think of America and we think they brought us here as slaves, no, they brought some Africans here and tried to make us slaves, but we ain't never submitted to that shit because we were fighting from day one.
Yes.
We never stopped fighting. We never submitted to slavery, ever. You know.
Let me interject right quick because you made me think of something. You gave us something some years ago. Baby, you remember that? Dr. Smiles gave us what is it, a PDF or a data?
It's still on my computer.
It's on his computer. Okay, it was
about 1,000 books you gave me.
Of resistance, of revolutions, of
resistance,
of how we always resisted against slavery.
Right. I think it was a history of rebellions and resistance, or something like that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you later, and you can post it on another show.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's important, and the reason I was raising that, if you take away our inventions from this country, it's still in the swamp someplace. Okay?
Yes.
The cotton gin, you know, my boy may have built the box, but he did it because he saw the sisters combing, using a comb to comb the seeds out of the cotton. So he built a bigger box with a bigger comb. And so he went to the cotton gin. No. The
Right.
idea of cleaning it with a comb structure was the sisters working in the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
The light bulb, some British guys invented it, but they could only keep it burning for 2-3 seconds.
Second.
So
Yes.
they gave it as a gift to Alexander Bell, who couldn't do nothing with it. Then he gave it to a black man. Then
Filament.
he again went back to the fields with mama and daddy was burning the cotton seeds to keep warm in the evening, and that glow from the carbon that was how that light, even though the fire was gone, that light stayed there and kept things bright all night.
Right.
So we came up with the carbon filament, which made the light bulb practical and revolutionized America, because now you could work at night. Now you
Yes.
fire from torches and oil lamps and so forth.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell, who was a nice guy, but that same Lewis Latimer was his best friend. They served in the war together during the Civil War. And Bell was trying to fix a hearing aid for his father, trying to come up with something that helped his father hear. And he turned to his friend, Lewis Latimer, whose trade was graphic artist. He was a graphic artist. And he defended the patents for Bell, you know, and for the other one, Edison. So that first telephone you see in all the books around the world about Alexander Graham Bell, that's drawn by Lewis Latimer. And then we just come on into the 21st century. Name anything that a white person invented. Instead of me trying to go through all the black inventions.
Right.
If I look at the touch-tone phone, a black woman. I look at the cell phone, a black man. I look at my grandson Xbox, a black man.
Mm-hmm.
The remote for the TV, a black man. I look at the brake, the air brake for these big tractor trailer trucks, a black man. I look at the breakdown, what do you call that? Transformer system that allow elevators to go above 3 floors, a black man.
Yeah.
Right.
Third rail that allow for all this transportation, a black man. I look at the street lights, a black man. I look at the PC, a black man. I look at the internet, a black man. I look at the email about, please. You want to know why? On one hand, they keep terrorizing us, but they don't want us to go away.
Exactly.
We still doing that same thing in corporate America every day in secret for this fool.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why history will erase the mystery and let us work our magic, because we'll stop allowing ourselves to be used and misused for his development. And we'll begin to come back to our communities, take control of the providing of food, clothing, health, and safety by getting control of the economics, the politics, and the culture where we live, so that we can be a man in command of land, labor, and resources, and we can begin to be the retailers and the wholesalers to ourselves, so that our $1 trillion will circulate in our community over and over until we get tired of using it and let it circulate out. Learn to open credit unions, which is not that difficult. Just look it up. Learn to open credit unions and learn to open banks. But before you get to the bank level, which requires a certain amount of money, credit unions only require a minimum amount of money. It requires a certain amount of pledges of money, but not actual money to get started. And so these are the things we have to learn as we study our history and take control of the education of our children. I don't want to leave this out. Every household should set aside at least 2 hours a week to just study Black history. Every household. Should be more if you could, but at least 2 hours. Watching a DVD, or reading a book, or watching a Black movie. That's positive. Every week with the whole family. If we just do that, you'll see in a year how much your family will heal. Every family must learn how to eat healthy. It is actually cheaper to eat healthy than it is to eat the poison.
Yes, it is.
But they market it so it looks like the poison is cheaper, you know. But a big pot of lima beans, you know, stewed down nice, and throw that little genuine in there, a little turmeric in there, that garlic up in there. And if you want to chop up some fish and put it in there, or some chicken and put it in there, that's fine. And that one pot of stew, you can eat up off of that for 3-4 days. And serve it in all kinds of different ways. Bowl of rice one day, on some bread and that. If we just wanted to eat right. When this thing with the COVID started, the first thing I went to the supermarket, I bought 50 bags of dried beans. People were looking at me like, this dude, he must be crazy. I know what I was getting, my protein, my vitamin, you know what I'm saying? I bought like 30 cans of sardines, 20 cans of tuna, water, so that no matter what else happened, these are the substantive, not that expensive food that I can create all kinds of dish with. I can take an avocado and a lettuce and some tuna and some tomato and work magic on that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn to take care of our health. And it doesn't have to, we don't have to go to martial arts class every day, but learn the basic exercises and the basic stretches. Walk. Even if you just walk around the house, just walk. Do basic touching your toes, stretching those ligaments. You will be surprised how much that will do to basic health. Eating properly, doing some basic exercise every day or every other day, and doing walking. But then go back to studying history. In studying history, study economics, study politics, Learn how the economic system works in America. Learn how the political system works. We want to get rid of Mr. Trump. To put dummity-do in there. Better. The difference is we got to get rid of Trump and put dummity-do in, because Trump is the top of a pyramid. He's the capstone and the mouthpiece. But he don't make any policy. There's 9,000 other people that he has appointed, and they have appointed by the corporate structure, the bankers and investing interests who put him at the top of the pyramid. They've put their managers, 9,000 of them, to run the country. We don't know their name. We don't even know it exists. Every agency, every secretary, every manager, every director that they've put in place that run every agency of this country nationally, right? All the policy of this country, we don't even know their names, but they came in under this administration. And under the Biden and them administration, if they get in, they will bring in 9,000 of theirs. And this is where we need to put pressure and say, we want to be some of those 9,000. We want to have a hand in choosing who's going to be those 9,000. Who's going to run these different agencies that nobody ever hear about and nobody ever see, but decides the policy for everything that happens to our lives every day. So we got to know how the government works. And people say, well, I only got this one to vote for, that one to vote for. No. Learn how the electoral system works in your city, in your state, so you can know how to run yourself or your best friend or your organization member or your family member for these offices instead of having no choice except what they put up. But we've got to take that energy and learn basic political science, basic civics. How does the school board work? How does the PTA work? How does the city council work? How does the municipal waste management board work? You can't sit back and leave the running of your city to your enemy and complain when your enemy haven't treated you right. So that's it for today. I got another 20 minutes, then I got to go pick my baby up from.
Okay, so we got a question about how to. Can you tell us our people a basic way as far as African spirituality to look at life in an African centered way? And it was another one. That's good to start off with.
Okay.
And how to repair this issue, like how to deal with family and repair ourselves from this post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Right. The most important part of spirituality is learning the history of your people. because you need to know what you're going to be spiritual about and whose spiritual ideas you're carrying forward. So you must learn the history. There's no way around that. History sounds mundane, but it is ignorance that's got us in trouble. It is ignorance of ourself that's got us in trouble. Spirituality is when you're in command of your reality. Spirituality isn't some spook aside with a bunch of rituals.
Right.
You can create rituals for anything. I can go make up a ritual now on how I'm going to kiss Carol when she get off the train, and I can do a ritual right there. And as long as I believe it, it exists. But that's not what spirituality is about. Spirituality is when you're in control and command of your reality, and you arrive at knowing what your reality is through knowing the history and the mysteries of your ancestry. That system of how the cosmology works, how the ecology works, how all the things that live in it along with the human being works in relationship to it, all of that is body of knowledge what make up spirituality. It isn't some religious ritual or wearing some necklace or wearing some jewelry or wearing a certain color. All of that is a part of a teaching tool, depending on the school you're dealing with. Like in the Yoruba, I'm a Yoruba priest of Oya. I wear certain necklaces. I wear certain colors at certain times. I can do certain ceremonies, but I don't have to do none of that to be a priest of Oya. Okay? Oya means change in process. Any group of tools I can bring together that will allow me to help carry you through change so that you change yourself through knowledge. And in going through the change, let me show you what I mean. In the Yoruba religion, there's a goddess. I don't like that term. They call them Orisha, Oya. And they say Oya is the goddess of the wind. She's also the guardian of the gates to the cemetery. Now, all that's metaphorical. The wind symbolizes change and process. The gates to the cemetery symbolizes access to the ancestral wisdom, right? So Oya, in the metaphor, marries two men. She practices what they call polyandry. Sisters love Oya because she's the one that got the two husbands, right? But she marries Shango and Ogun. Now, in some of the metaphor, they got to marry Shango first. In some of the metaphor, they got to marry Ogun first. But it doesn't matter which metaphor, it works the same. Shango represents courage. That's why the king is always used to symbolize him. Because Shango represents the courage to realize I need to do something about my wrong. So there's a metaphor where Shango, in his arrogance and ego, he's the king, he got the power, he got control over everything. So he makes his two younger brother fights to the death in order for him to reward one of them with wealth and da-da-da-da-da. And when this happens and he realizes he's responsible for killing his own brother out of ego, out of arrogance, out of just plain pompousness, then he goes off and runs off and he commits suicide. And it says, the king is not dead, the king is not dead, because Oya sees him hanging from the tree and she cuts him down. What died is the ego. What died is the arrogance. What died is the envy. What died is the desire. So the Shango symbolized the courage to change yourself for the better. So he must marry Oya, because Oya's changed in process. When comes and blow the stale stuff out of the way and bring the pleasantness there, the new things in. And so then you get to Ogun. She marries Ogun also in the ritual, in the metaphor. Ogun is the god of iron, the god of war. But what is that symbolic of? If I want to make iron, I got to take a piece of stone out the ground and I got to put it in fire and I got to burn out the impurities to make steel so I can make it into tools and weapons. That process is called transformation. So the courage for change then marries, which is Shango, marries Oya the process of change, which then marries Ogun, transformation as a result of change. You understand? So,
man, I need to be sitting down listening to you every day, man. You make everything so it make when you explain this and making me have the ability to understand things.
People complex. People scare people
right,
away.
right.
People, this belongs to the people. It don't belong to none of us.
That's right.
I'm just a plain old vessel. None of what I'm saying belong to me. I'm just blessed that the ancestors use me for whatever they're using me for, you know.
Prof,
So,
can you hold that book up again? They asking for that book. Can you hold it up one more time, Diane Wright?
Oh, Taine.
Booker T. Washington and Africa, the making of a Pan-Africanist.
You're gonna love this book.
I'm sure gonna order
love this book. And and the other book I talked about is Robin Walker's When We Ruled, you know, which is an essential book.
Okay.
Robin Walker, When We Ruled. And then Dr. LaRon Bennett, The Shaping of Black America and Before the Mayflower. But on before the Mayflower, get the revised edition, because before Dr. Bennett died, he had almost another 150 pages to that book. That's enough foundation material. There was one other I mentioned was The First Americans Were Africans by Dr. David Imhotep. David Imhotep, The First Americans Were Africans. Okay. And that don't make us jump into it. People go, oh, we the Aborigine. That's foolishness. We the Aborigine every place. We were the Aborigine in Europe.
How many Aborigines do we have?
Why wouldn't we be the Aborigine in North America? You know?
Right.
But yes, we were everywhere before anybody else came there. But we went to those everywheres out of Africa, you know? And then we came again in bondage. And we fused with our people, you know, and we didn't have no they weren't arguing about, oh, you've been here before I got you, so I ain't gonna have nothing to do with you know how anyway, you know. So no, we married into our people. I grew up in South Carolina. I'm of those people. Look at me, you know. I used to go clean their grave. They're buried in mounds. They buried themselves in little pyramidal mounds. Papa used to take us to clean their grave. I didn't know there was such a big contradiction until I left the farm and left the woods and found people in the city arguing about the stupidest things. They don't argue about how we should love one another. They argue about why we should fight one another. No, wrong argument. You know? Let's figure this thing out. That's why history, your history, starting with your family tree. They say, oh, well, I ain't gonna put Uncle John in there because he was drunk, he was a junkie. No. Find out why Uncle John was a junkie. Find out why he was a junkie.
You sound like Future with that one.
Find out all the good things he did despite being a drunk and a junkie.
Right.
Yes.
Put your family tree together. Then put the neighborhood where your parents grew up tree together. Then the neighborhoods they moved to. Then North America. Then the greater African world civilization. And you can see the only thing more powerful than you is the universe itself. There's nothing more powerful than the black man and the woman. But it ain't no black man and ain't no black woman. It's the black man and the woman. You make the whole.
Right.
Only you. And this is the last piece I got to do because I got to go give my baby. Look at this now. Sometimes when I tell women, they say, oh, Prof, you're just getting too fresh now. I said, they coming for me with ailments and problems. I said, I'll tell you what you do. Get up in the morning in your birthday suit, stand in front of that mirror. Nothing on. And look in your eyes and say, good morning, God. How are you today? Cool. And admire whether you're skinny, wide, heavy, short. Admire that's you, that your creator created.
Yes.
Learn every curve in your body.
Yes.
Look into your eyes. Find out how to love you. When you love you, you love God.
Yes.
And then you take it to this next level. When you put your hand on your womb, that's heaven. Dr. Bennett said heaven between the leg of a black woman. People try to run them out the church. Think about it. No babies float down here from outer space. They don't come in those stork baskets. They don't pop up out of the ground. Where did those babies come from? Out of the womb of a black woman. How does it get there? The seed of a black man, right? What does that mean? That the black man and woman, and especially the woman, is that aspect. Listen to this good now. That woman's womb and that man's seed is that aspect of God that creates. That is the only way God creates human. So if you're going to say God created you, then you better look and see you are a part of the creator, because you're carrying out that aspect of the creating function for the totality of the divine. This shit is bad when you get black. You don't ever.
It really is.
Our time went by so fast, but I now got to pick my wife up because she wants to go by her mom's house today, and her mom just turned 96 the other day. So we got to
send her much love and energy, and tell your wife we send our love and greetings, and we're gonna bring you back.
Oh yeah,
real soon.
And I hope one thing I want to leave with my brothers and sisters: it's all simple. Don't let people make this all so complex.
Yes.
Show me a human being that didn't come through the womb of a woman, then I'll show you something that's something wrong. Well, even if they say, well, we did it in a test tube. No, you took the eggs out the woman.
Right.
You didn't invent no egg. You took the seed, man. So me and you are that aspect of God that creates. In Yoruba, that's called Obatola. Ain't some man run around in a white cloth climbing down on a rope. We are Obatola.
That's me.
We are that function that creates life. So peace and blessings. I hope I dropped some little wisdom jewels on you.
You did awesome. Like that said, thank you so much, Prof.
They sweeping them up.
Oh yeah.
Master peace to those. And of my people, Africa, that land that everybody's messing with, that is the womb out of which all of the rest of us come from.
Yes.
That womb is the gateway to heaven.
Yes.
And for my brothers who are Masons, I want y'all to be left out. When we walk into the Masonic Lodge, you walk to two pillows. Those are the legs of the black woman, son. You're walking in the womb to be reborn again. I'll see y'all later. Run. So we're gonna have fun. Let's do this again as soon as we can.
Yes, we'll bring back. Thank you, appreciate you.
I love you much. Appreciate y'all.
Love you too. Everybody said thank you. They appreciate you. One after, yes. Thank you so much.
All right, my dear.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Woo!
Man, look, that's who we've been sitting at the feet of learning for the past numbers of years. I can't even call how many years it is. That's where we get our knowledge base from. I call him Godfather, Uncle.
It's so many titles come out when you have such an astounding being in your presence as God manifestation right here on earth, to be able to have that type of knowledge and to acquire and simplify. That's why I talk to our family about all the time how simple it really is for us to be African-centered. When the European poisoned us, it became very confusing and difficult.
Oh man, when you listen to it, it just breaks down. It gives you a mechanism to answer anything that pretty much comes into your mind. It gives you a God way of thinking. It really, because I just thought about, how you see people just say aliens come here in a suit, and when the suit break down, they had the spirit come out the suit and it go someplace else. The suit drop, but the spirit go get replenished in another suit and come back on another dimension. That's what we just got explained to us right there. So my descendant that came from the Nile Valley all the way through Cameroon through Nigeria. I'm that same dude now.
Yes.
I'm that same. When he passed away, then it really didn't pass away. It was just the suit died and the spirit
came inside of you. That's why I tell y'all how we got at least 4,094 of our ancestors walking with us right now. You know how powerful that is? And do you understand the power that we really have? Do you understand? Yes, Belonza Queen. Do y'all really understand the power that we must have within ourselves? We have to recognize this power of what we have.
I'm talking about. That's what they sat in his office talking to him for hours and hours and hours and hours right there in Ghana. And here, I mean,
we're indigenous
so
to the earth. Africa is inside of you.
What?
We are Africa. We just want our womb back. We want the African womb back. That's what Africa is to us. That's how we have to handle it. That's why we got to stay on the up and positive, because we got so much work to do. But it would be easy if we just relax.
Listen to Prof.
And listen to Professor Small. Y'all go. I posted up a lot of the links that I think you should expose yourselves to first, but it's plenty. Professor Small's been putting in work for so long. Stop thinking that God resides outside of you. God is in. God is you. You are God. You are a manifestation of God right here on earth. And that's all we need to know. That is the power that we've been looking for. We're looking for something so complicated. Okay?
That's how they confuse you, when they take the simplicity of a thing and make it complex. Then you can capitalize off of that complexity. Simplicity is easy for everybody to get it. That means everything is even. But when you make stuff complex, I can tell you everything except for these 3 chapters. I got 5 chapters. I'm going to tell you all 3 of these, but I'm going to keep these 2 for myself so I can hold the power. No.
I love y'all. We love y'all. We just want to relax. We want you to get some nourishment. We got to receive nourishments in our lives from our wise ones. Okay? We got griots all around us. We must protect our womb. The ark, that is the land. That's Mama Africa. That's why she has called on us to come home. You cannot get distracted. You got to stay focused. You got to rescue yourself and your family. It's very simple. Learn your history. Know who you are.
So
love yourself.
He said, Prof said that we've been coming home since the 1800s. All right. So just say, now we're going to talk about the understand the element of time before we get on down, because I got to go do some more work.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes.
The element of time is just like to make you think about this. So 1800s, we've been coming home trying to get back to Africa since the 1800s. It's 2020, finna be 2021. That ain't number 200 and, what is it, 221 years?
Yeah, 1800s.
1800s.
Yeah.
That's 221 years. And we got people that still on this earth is 110 years old. So just think about that. That's what you hear people say, protracted people's movements. That's a protracted people movement. At 1800, we weren't where we are now. But in that progression of 221 years, we still trying to get home. We still on our way home. We still progressing and migrating. On top of the knowledge being built and everything is being progressed, going through a natural progression. And we still on that same look, man. To let you know, we the same people, making the same movements, doing the same thing. Love it.
I love y'all. Yes, y'all. Make sure you understand. You got the power. You got to realize your own power. You are the best manifestation of God right here on earth, as all of us in this chat. Everybody that listened to Prof today should live your lives much differently after we get off this live.
It's
okay?
a replayer. I'm gonna replay this too when I get in the car.
Okay.
For real, but y'all remember, y'all, we are LMBLIG family. We are beacons of light set upon the hill for the whole world to see.
Yes.
And that statement would be understood by some and would be discussed and thought about by others. But some people that know what I'm talking about, they know what I'm saying. So with that being said, y'all,
power.
God love you. God love me. Bye.
Peace, family.